Good afternoon, honey.
Hi.
Thank you again for the teaching, the time, and the effort. Please give him thumbs up and share it with your friend. And if you did not subscribe it, please subscribe it so you don't missing all the videos. Your support is our motivation. Today's chapter 14.
Yes. All right. So this is the second mention of the 144,000. I believe it was in chapter 7 where they were first introduced. And
Yes.
we get a little bit more information in this one. Probably the most important portion of this is in their description here in the first 5 verses of chapter 14, where they sang a new song, and no one could learn the song except for the 144,000 who had been purchased from the earth. They've not been defiled, and they've kept themselves chaste, which means pure. And they're the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been purchased from among men as the first fruits to God and to the Lamb. No lie was found in their mouth. They are blameless. So if you can imagine from the earlier description, we know they're from the 12 tribes, and there's 12,000 from each. The number 12 is symbolic of God's administering government over the affairs of men.
Yes.
This is one of the ways that God governs, is he's going to pick these men from the 12 tribes. And we mentioned that the 12 tribes that were listed are a change. They include Joseph, and they do not include Dan or Ephraim because of the golden calves they made.
Yeah.
And so Joseph is put back in, and so is Levi. In any event, they are either alive at the time of the events that are going to be portrayed here, and this would be obviously at the time of Christ's return. And we're in chapter 14, and this is a side scene that was given to John, the vision of the battle of Satan in heaven prior to the creation of earth, and the vision of the woman giving birth.
Yes.
Well, obviously those were side visions, and they weren't in direct chronological order. This is another one of those. And it reveals what he's going to do with this 144,000 and a little bit more about what they are. They sang a new song, and then it goes on and talks about this idea that Christ's millennial kingdom will include a remnant of what was left of his people. And we get that from Isaiah chapter 11, verses 10 and 12. Listen to this. In that day, the root of Jesse will stand as a banner for all the peoples. The nations will rally to him, and his place of rest will be glorious. In that day, the Lord will reach out his hand a second time to reclaim the remnant that is left of his people from Assyria, from Lower Egypt, Upper Egypt, Cush, Elam, Babylonia, Hamath, and from the faraway lands. He will raise a banner for the nations and gather the exiles of Israel. He will assemble the scattered people of Judah from the 4 quarters of the earth. That's about as powerful a verse, even though I can come up with about 100 of those, that promise the restoration of Israel at the return of Christ. The vision of the angel with the gospel. And he saw another angel flying in mid-heaven, have an eternal gospel to preach to those who live on the earth. So this is a vision of the millennial kingdom itself, when there will be a surviving remnant of mortal human beings that have come through the tribulation. And we, as his resurrected priests, will go out and proclaim the one true gospel, the one true religion to the entire earth. In Zechariah 14, it says, and there will be one God, and he will reign over the entire earth. All right. So our charge as the ministers of the truth will be to go out there and minister and heal and encourage and help rebuild this shattered earth that we have.
Yes.
The 144,000's job will be to gather the remnants of Israel and come back to the promised land. And then the next thing that's introduced is this concept of fallen is Babylon the Great. She who has made all the nations drink the wine of her immorality. I can make a very good case, but I will simply say that the mystery of Babylon that is introduced here in chapter 14 and then in later chapters, which there's 2 or 3 chapters that are dedicated to her destruction. Why would that much of the book of Revelation be dedicated to something like the Catholic Church, or something like any other of these identities that have come down through the commentaries over the centuries of Christianity? The only thing that's big enough is the ungodly Israel. And that's why I say the Israel today is not the Israel we're going to see in the millennial kingdom. The whole point of this chapter is to introduce us to the concept of a fallen Israel, a godly Israel that will be the first to be judged. And I think that was one of my first questions here is, who is first for judgment? First nation of Israel, and then the Gentile nations. And so this introduces the judgment upon Israel. If we just think 2 key Jewish events in the timeline of history, in the it was 1885, Baron von Rothschild. Meyer Amschel Rothschild was a German Jewish banker and the founder of the Rothschild banking industry, referred to as the founding father of international finance. And if you look today, every single bank except 2 or 3 of all the nations, almost 200 nations on earth, are controlled by the Rothschilds. And he was a Jew.
Wow.
Now you look at Hollywood, and it was founded by 2 Jewish men.
Wow.
And so we have the immorality of Hollywood and the immorality of merchandising.
Yeah.
And so there is so much about the immorality that is introduced because of the ungodly Jewish people that ultimately they will be the first to be judged.
Yes.
All right. Then it goes on to discuss that there's a judgment or a doom for the worshipers of the beast. And it says, here's the perseverance of the saints who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying, write. So he's telling John to write this down. Blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. And so we're still in a great period of tribulation because the wrath of God is about to fall on Jerusalem. And here it says, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on, so that they may rest from their labors, for their deeds will follow them. And so we're looking at a final judgment on Israel and the presence of believers. Okay. The next scene are the reapers or the harvesters of earth. And there's symbolism here about it, the earth being a big fruit vine, grapevine, if you will. And that the harvest are the sinners. And it goes on to say, put your sickle in and reap, for the hour to reap has come, because the harvest of the earth is ripe. And the earth was harvested. If you continue on, then another angel, the one who had the power of fire, came from the altar and called, put your sharp sickle and gather the clusters from the vine of the earth, because her grapes are ripe. And then threw them into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood came out from the winepress up to horses' bridles, which is about chest high, for a distance of 200 miles. And again, whether that's literal or what we call literary hyperbole, which is exaggeration to make a big point. And all through the Bible, we have literary hyperbole, where he says all of the earth. Well, it wasn't all of the earth. There were godly men. But if I was to say that your entire house is infested with termites, well, they're probably not in every square inch of the house, but they are everywhere. Okay. And so literary hyperbole is very common, but it's a very important chapter because it gives us more explanation of the 144,000. It describes the judgment of Israel, the holy city of Zion, and I know that's a sensitive word today, but I am a self-confessed Zionist because I believe in the holy city of Jerusalem coming down onto Mount Zion, which is where Jerusalem is located, but the city of Jerusalem is coming down to Israel, to Jerusalem. It's very important that we embrace the idea of a restored godly Israel that will have God's Spirit imprinted on their hearts. It's promised all through the Old Testament.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. God bless you. God bless those people who are watching this video.